Welcome back, everybody. This is episode 7, I believe, of Tifosi Time. Your the podcast that talks everything Juventus, Serie A, Calcio, and whether you want to admit it or not, we grow on you just a little bit more every week. So if you're back, thank you very much. If this is the first time you're here, hit the like button, subscribe. It'll make people stop making fun of us if we get a couple views. So we'll take it. My name's Frank, and this is Chris and Dan.
I actually like you two less since you started this. So
the platform is going downhill. I'm not going to lie. All right. So you guys want to say hello?
Hi. Hi. Oh, please, before we start anything, like, subscribe, send some questions so I can interact with some other people who actually know about soccer. We will talk about it on next week's show.
I like that. I have not followed the Twitter account yet, but it is on my to-do list to do.
Listen, so I asked a question on Twitter last week about Chris's boy Caputo. How many goals is he going to score? And somebody replied.
You're like Insta famous.
God, I get such a rush. You don't understand. Like people follow, they can just write random stuff on there, and I'll get a rush. It doesn't matter.
Wasn't the answer 8?
He said 8 goals. Yes, I think he was making fun of me, but whatever.
Well, he's almost at that mark. So, all right. Well, why don't we get into it, guys? There's a lot of stuff to talk this week. So, all jokes aside, or at least putting them aside for a second, where do you guys want to start? The Juventus game?
Yes.
Yeah, sure. Let's do that.
Do we have any fancy? Look at that. Week 2 of fancy graphics. All right, so
what? Oh, you noticed that part at the
bottom. That's great. Commentary complete. So what'd you guys think overall, obviously, of this game?
I don't know. Why couldn't they play like they did the last 20 minutes of the entire game? Right? Like they started playing, they made some subs. Kulusevski is a great player. Awesome finish. Dybala was rusty. Bonucci does suck, man. I can't stand him. I really don't want him on the team. He's not good.
You know, it's so funny to hear like how the announcers, when he pulled his hamstring, how they were like, "Oh, big loss for Juventus," and I'm like, God, if only we get so lucky that he'd be out for a bit. I mean, honestly, he's just he is what he is. Like, I know he's the national team, defender, and he's been there for ages, but I mean, he just straight up is he's overrated. Like, I would have taken the 30 million from Chelsea a couple years ago. I would have taken it since. Not that he did anything out of the normal that he normally does this game in terms of, showing his butt when he's trying to defend and letting people go by him, losing his mark. But
it's at least once a game he does that. Once a game he does that. Also, what's the deal with him roaming to the midfield? Go away. Get out of here. Like, although I'm not impressed with him at all. He's like Pjanić 2.0. I don't know. I don't really like him.
Well, okay. So I think, first off, I think a little bit of credit has to be given to Verona, right? Because I know that a lot of times when you're playing a smaller team, credit never wants to be given to the smaller team. But I think they pressed really well in the first half, and they honestly disrupted Juventus's game, and we couldn't play out of the back, right? Because again, we have people like Bonucci that think they're stars at the ball, and I think Verona really played a solid game. I really do, and
they're coached really well. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think they deserve some credit there. They showed up. They weren't scared. They were positioned well in the field. They moved together. They closed down spaces in groups, and Juventus really was kind of stuck. Like you said, until like the last 20 minutes, I would say Verona deserved to be ahead. I know we hit a couple posts. I know the goal that was taken away from Morata was really nice, which, by the way, like, I just hate VAR. Like, I know he was technically, I think his armpit was off by a hair. Like, but I mean, I miss the days where it was just like, you know what, he was even, or they would have called him off and he just got the goal. With VAR, I mean, seriously, like a shoelace can be off and they take away. And I'm just like, really? Is that really, was he technically, did he gain an advantage from the half a millimeter he was off? Right?
So like some weeks in a row that's happened to him. Speaking of Morata, I think he's been awesome. I absolutely love him. He runs with pace. He attacks. Yeah. He can pass the ball. He's been great.
Yeah, he's definitely. Go ahead.
No, so there's something about him in a Juventus jersey. He just works. It works with him in that jersey, and you see it. He left off right where he left last time when he was with Juventus. He's a difference maker.
I think it's a little bit different than where he was with Juventus the first time, right? So I think when he came the first time, I think he did put a little pressure on himself to try to really like prove to himself that he deserves a spot. And I think this time around, he's played with big teams. He's had his experiences and he's come back with the same energy and pace that he plays on the field with, but a little bit more confidence. Like, I don't think you could see the way he's been finishing too. He's been cool, where the first time around, he would have missed that. Even the goal that was pulled away was a beautiful take, the way he took that and chipped the goalie. That was not easy to do. And he's in really good form right now for sure.
Yeah. I think, so I'll give you my opinion on this. I think Verona, I don't think we're giving them enough credit. I mean, Frank gave them credit. I think they were coached really well. I think they had a great game plan. They lost so many of their players, but they brought in some players that are filling in nicely. They have a good team, some young players. Lovato on defense played amazing. He played really well.
Lovato played really well. My player of the week, it was between him and the guy I eventually chose, but Lovato played really well.
Going back to Bonucci, Kalinic destroyed Bonucci. Every 50-50 ball, Bonucci didn't stand a chance.
Bonucci doesn't win balls in the air. He doesn't win balls.
It was awful. And then when they took Kalinic out, I was like, oh, man. For Hellas Verona, I was like, man, why'd they take him out? Like, he was dominating him. Like, the only time he wasn't doing well is when Demiral was on him, and he would go up and win the head balls and be aggressive. And Demiral is the type of player who will bring the fight and the spirit to the rest of the team. He's a guy who's going to, like, his attitude, it just the rest of the team feeds off of it. And you saw one tackle he made. He did the fist bump after. Yeah. It's like, that's what you want to see. Like, he's just he's just so solid back there.
Listen, even Rabiot had a nice slide tackle that he started to play that with the goal that was taken away. Like, he was moving a bit.
So I'm actually impressed with Rabiot. He runs a lot more than I thought he's going to when he came on this team.
Towards the end of last year, he got in form physically. He looks a little bit skinnier. I think he's lost 5-10 pounds, and he's definitely in better shape right now. He's doing more work. When I think he realizes, like, he can't prance around like, he's some champion that he's not. I think he realizes he's going to have to try to make the difference on winning the ball. And he's been playing well since the beginning of last season, and he played decent. But back to Demiral, I mean, there's a reason I've been screaming for Demiral to take a spot, right? Because, let's assume Chiellini's era is done, right? And, eventually, hopefully, Bonucci will join him. To me, the steal of that new wave of defense is going to be Demiral and De Ligt. But Demiral is really going to be the guy that people can rally around. Like you said, Dan, that fist pump was so awesome because it was just, it was a nice tackle at about 25 yards out, and he just was like so into it. It reminds me of like Chiellini, right? And that fire that people have. So
it was such a small play, but it was like just the feeling that the fans got, but I'm sure his teammates got the same thing. Like, this guy's a badass. I'm going to follow his lead, and we're not going to lose because we have people like him who's playing for us that care a lot and give 100% each time they're out there.
Yeah, I will say he still has some maturation to be done, I think, where some of his decisions, I mean, the part of a game that we love, right, the aggression, I'm not going to let you touch the ball if you're the opposing forward, right? I'm going to win the 50-50 balls. I'm going to anticipate. That's great. I think he still has to, and this will come, he has to learn where he is on the field. I think he got a yellow card, like, almost on a tackle past half field, I think, where there was no danger. I think the guy was taking the ball down with his back towards goal. And you don't want them breaking out, but he's just going to have to learn to avoid those yellows that he doesn't need to get, because he's going to get yellows where you need to get them, right, as a defender, last man. So hopefully that will come, because I don't want to see him getting, too many red cards, because that could ruin his confidence as well.
Yeah. Chris mentioned Dybala. I thought Dybala had a bad game. just, not in form. Obviously, he hasn't played in a while. And I think part of it was not knowing the ref or seeing the ref, like, after the first half, like, not calling as many things as you want. Like, stop going on the ground. Stop expecting every little call to go your way. He's clearly not calling that. Can you adapt
Can I compliment the ref? Can I compliment him?
Oh, I love what the ref did.
Pasqua was like, I mean, I enjoyed the way the game flowed. I really liked the way it was. He just let it play on. Like, yeah, sometimes the guys are going to get chippy because they're going to say, oh, was that a foul? Why aren't you calling that? But I loved it. I mean, I think the game just flows so much better. He just let them play.
Adapt to the game, though. Like, you see, he's not calling that. Stop flopping. Morata did it too a couple times. Like, come on, guys. You know that wasn't a hard foul. Get up. And
So what I will say about Arthur too, because I know Chris was kind of like, oh, he's Pjanić 2.0. I kind of disagree a little bit in the sense that where he's playing, he was playing pretty deep. But what I liked about him was he made the simple pass quickly, like to break out of traffic a lot of times in space.
But it's like, I don't know, it's like side to side. It's not forward. It's like
it's not forward. But what I like is, so sometimes even when Pirlo was there, right, playing, sometimes they would almost sit on the ball too much. They would slow down the play. I liked that at least he moved it. Like, he was moving it quickly to the next guy, which I liked.
But Pirlo can send a long ball 40 yards spot on. And, Morata would kill for a ball like that. Are you kidding me?
But there was times where Arthur got the ball in the midfield with a couple people around him, facing his own goal.
Yeah.
And he was able to pass quickly, short pass to get out of the trouble, which allowed us to exit the zone. And those things count, right? Because when you don't have them, what you get is the other team keeps pressing you, keep having turnovers, like when Bonucci gets the ball or somebody, or makes a bad pass. So, if you can move it quickly and keep it going, that's a great way to kind of play around the press.
I do like that he's really confident on the ball. Like, when he has it and there's pressure around him, he's calm and he gets away. Like, I'm not nervous about him getting, like, Matuidi would have just lost it, right? Like, he can make space and pass it. That's good. But I don't know.
You have to give him time.
He's not playing either, though. I don't think he should be playing there, right? Like,
well, I think what I'd like to see is him, in that little space, be able to play out of it, like you're saying, which is what I was complimenting on. But then also, take the run into the midfield and join the play forward, right? I don't think right now he's doing that too much, and I don't know if that's consciously what Pirlo is telling him to do. But he's not really playing box to box. But I think and this goes with the team, I think we have a lot more movement than we had with Sadi, right? In terms of people trying to move, for sure. But it's not gelling 100% yet, right? I think that's where you're seeing the flaws of Juventus, because sometimes people are running to the same space. They're not running off each other all the time or creating space for each other. I think that will come as they learn each other. And I'm hoping Arthur, with that, will also be able to join the offense a little bit more.
So that's the one thing with the forward, the front three that he started. He had Dybala, Morata, and Ramsey started, and those are all three guys who are forward thinking and actually do make advanced runs and move around a lot. But it just didn't seem to click. And you saw once they put Kulusevski in, the difference and the change that they had up front up there. I don't know. I like all three of them starting. It just didn't work.
Yeah, and I think it goes back to a lot. I mean, again, Dybala is rusty, right? He's out of form. He hasn't played in a while. And I think, and again, Verona have had a good press where we weren't really able to, take supremacy in the midfield. So we had to kind of scrap for every little thing, right? And, listen, another game where we hit, what did we hit? Do we hit 2 posts or 1 post? How many posts did we hit? Quadrado hit 1, the crossbar.
Yeah.
And then wasn't there a header off a post too, or no? Am I thinking of the other game?
Dybala hit 1.
Dybala hit 1, and then we had Morata's goal that was taken away, right? So in a different game, they might have played same as that game, and the scoreline might have been 3-1.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the possession and the shots, like, they clearly dominated the game, but Verona's the type of team, like, you can't have them hang around because, like we said, they're coached well, they know what they're doing, and they capitalize on the few chances that they get. One of the people that I know Frank was impressed with was Kali from Verona, who's actually the Atalanta. He's on loan from Atalanta, so shocker.
Big surprise.
Have a good youth team.
No, I like the way Coley played, at least more in the first half. I think he was dangerous enough, and I think he was able to kind of put pressure on the forwards when he got the ball and kind of take some runs at them. And he was someone that you could tell the defenders were kind of on the back foot when he was running at them. Which a team like Verona, between Kalinic kind of trying to hold the ball up and winning, and then Coley kind of running off of that, it was dangerous enough for a team like that. For me, it was between Lovato and him for player of the game, and I gave it to Coley just because, again, he's 20 years old, he's a young kid, and I think he showed himself to be a little bit dangerous. Was he a game breaker? No, but I wasn't going to give it to anyone from Juventus. But I did like the way he played. I think
he's been good all season.
I like the way Lazovic played on the outside. I always think he's consistent on the outside and plays well going forward and tracking back. Like I said, for me, Lovato was the player of the game. He was really solid in the middle.
Who do you think was the best player for Juventus? I mean, do you think it was Morata or who anyone else who would give it to?
Morata's probably the most informed. You got to give credit to Danilo. Danilo's been solid again.
He's been solid.
He didn't do anything special, but he played well.
I think it was Kulusevski. Comes in, scores a goal, beautiful. He's the best player. He showed the most.
Yeah, I mean Kulusevski. I mean he's a good player for sure. I mean I think Cuadrado played decent too. But again, I think when Juventus is playing at full cylinders, I think they're all going to take another step. Even Kovalevsky and all these guys, because right now it's a little disjointed at times, right? On the final pass, so I think we're going to get there.
Did you guys notice Pirlo getting frustrated on the sideline? They cut to him a few times and he was screaming. I don't know who he was screaming at, but he was screaming.
I like that, man. His hands weren't in his pocket. He was actually saying stuff.
I think he feels the pressure. I honestly do. He's like, we got a lot of ties. We're in 7th. We're in 8th place. We should be beating this team. I think he was really feeling the pressure at the end of that game. Like, we need 3 points. And that's why you saw him screaming.
Yeah. I mean, I think he got mad at the non-calls at one point too, right? Wasn't he yelling at the refs, I think, which, but I think yeah, I mean, look,
at the end of the game too, him and Juric didn't shake hands, so they were going at it a little bit too.
Which I don't agree with, right? I mean, you should be able to hate each other for 90 minutes and then go shake hands, right? It is what it is. I don't think that Juric didn't do anything, right? I mean, you guys put 11 guys each on the field and you ended up tying. Like, like it wasn't like the game was stolen from you, right? So I don't get that. Really?
No, full credit to Hellas Verona. I picked tie on that game. I saw that game as a trap game in between the 2 Champions League games, and I knew they wouldn't have a full lineup, so that's why I went with tie on that. And I'm really not surprised by the results. Verona is a good team, and they're going to be at least mid-table, mid to upper table. They're solid.
You know what else is it's showing, right? It's like Ronaldo with his COVID. Did he break the protocol, not break the which, by the way, I believe it's because the anti-Juventus people in Italy, they want to always pick on Juventus, right? Like, I don't know if he broke protocol or not, but it's like, give me a break. Like, but anyway, it's like it's showing that as much as you want sometimes to play without Ronaldo to have more options, the last 2 ties, right? Crotone and this one might have been. I think you at least get 1 win out of them if Ronaldo's there, because I think he finds a way to score another goal.
Yeah, so go ahead, Chris. Go ahead.
Oh, so that bothers me, right? Like, then people think we're reliant on Ronaldo, and he's not going to be here forever, But like, I don't know, if he's not on the team, you have to think of it this way too. Like, I don't know, if they get rid of him, like, he's getting paid a buttload of money, so you get rid of him, you can get 3-4 other players to replace him, because his salary is crazy. You know what I'm saying? I know that's not what you're talking about, but I don't know.
So there are fans like our producer, our brother Dom, who does not believe in Ronaldo and thinks that, like, he gets too much credit. But then when you see results like this, like, how can you defend it? 2 in a row with ties, and you're not scoring as much as you should. Then I don't know.
Well, listen, and this is again letting the defense off the hook, right? Like, the old Juventus of being able to play 8, 9, 10 games in a row and give up 1 goal. That's gone. That's gone.
That doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen. That's what I'm saying. So this was the typical game where maybe in previous seasons you would have won 1-0, right? Ronaldo.
You're giving up a goal every game Bonucci's on the fucking field. I cursed, but you're giving up a goal up every game.
There goes our P rating.
I'm telling you, he's useless. And you're thinking about the game on Wednesday. Who's playing defense now? Demiral, Frabata, and Danilo? Is that the back three?
Also, I have to say, from both I think he's showing himself that he can be part of the rotation at least a little bit when he comes in. He's showing a little bit of character, right? For a young guy, like he's making runs forward, he's kind of inserting himself into the game, and he looks steady enough in defense, So I think
I'd rather have Bonucci back there, and I'm not even kidding.
Well, listen, you're stuck with Bonucci, right, for a while because De Ligt's out. I mean, Chiellini hurt himself again.
That's the annoying part. Like, he's playing these international games. Like, dude, you can't handle it. Can you retire from international football and just focus on Juventus? Like, you're not needed there. Go rest up and play games that are counted for Juventus.
He's not 40. Give him a break. He can play. He's just got to get back.
He can play 10 games a season now.
One more summer and then it's done.
I don't know.
Shout out to Fabili, who ex-Juventus, they sold him, and comes in, scores a goal in 3 minutes, gets hurt, plays a total of 7 minutes, scores a goal, ties the game. That had to be a good feeling for him.
Yeah. Up yours.
Listen, anytime you score against Juventus from one of those little provincial teams, they're happy about it. But I don't know. I don't really have much else to say about this, except I'll tell you that I think we're seeing flaws in a lot of the teams. Like a lot of the teams are showing the fact of that lack of continuity. Juventus is showing it more than normal early on, but I think it's
Listen, with injuries, with COVID and Champions League, you're not going to get a consistent lineup. So, like, you're going to have these stinkers, and it happens to all the teams.
But here's the deal. Like, you got to – don't give me even if you have your third choice team as Juventus, like you still have players that are making way more money than Verona, right? So don't give me that as an excuse. They had plenty of good people on the field. I don't think that's necessarily an excuse. I think it's just getting them in form, getting them play together, right? Is another thing. But that's here's the thing about Juventus. The one good game they were a good opponent or top opponent they were supposed to play got canceled, and they got 3 points out of it. So Juventus really hasn't.
That happened.
Juventus hasn't had an easy schedule thus far to be dropping points, so that might come back to bite them, right? Because they haven't played a lot of the big teams yet, where some of the big teams have played each other at least. Like Milan, Rome played each other today. Like we haven't played any of those games, so so it's going to be curious when those games start coming up.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to another game. We have another slide. What do you guys want to talk about next? The Atalanta?
Dealer's choice. Sure.
So surprise of the weekend, I would say, but not for some, because if you look at Samp's schedule, even in the last 3 games, winning against Fiorentina, Lazio, Atalanta, they are on a little bit of a hot streak. Ranieri's got them playing well. Early goals again against Atalanta. That's a trend that not just this year, but we've seen that in past years too. They just seem to start off a little slow, and just because they score so many, it's like, okay, whatever, we're going to put it in. But if you're not scoring so many like that, only 1 goal, then those early goals are going to come back to bite you. I don't know. You guys have thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, listen. I think I said early on when Sampdoria lost their first 2. I think I said, I expect Ranieri and Quagliarella and the folks to have a good season in the end, and I'm glad to see they turned it around. This is disappointing to me, and I'll tell you, the more I've been thinking about this, is the difference I see here is just there's a clear difference on how you could tell Atalanta is trying to juggle the championship and Champions League this year, right?
And this is a priority this year for them.
Well, so this is this is now what 2 games in a row from Serie A that, let's say, where Gasperini hasn't played his first choice 11, right? And the beauty of Atalanta was they would put people in, and they would come in, they would keep the same level of play. But now you start to see with increased expectations, and he's really thinking about that, I think. And you know what? The level's dropped. I think when they made 5-6 changes, and they haven't been able to keep the same level that I've come to love. I think we all have of Atalanta the last 2 years. So to me, now I still bet on Gasperini that he's going to find a way to rotate, the players enough where he can keep them fresh, but not totally have like changes of 8 and have a big decline. But you could see I don't think there's any doubt he made a calculation, right? Who am I playing? What games am I not going to play my starters in? What games do I have coming up? And he got burned both times.
100%, because when you don't start Gozens and Hadabor you're already telling people, hey, we're preparing for the Champions League, right? DePauli, I don't know if you guys watched.
Well, I was going to mention he is not. It's not like having Hadabor and Castagna on the side over there. Like there's a significant dip when he's in, and I'm not just singling one person out. Like their midfield didn't play well, the forwards didn't play well. Ilicic is still not, his normal self. Lammers didn't play particularly well. I think Freuler is a huge component, and like when he's not in there, you see a serious dip. He covers so much of that crappy defense, the central defenders who do not play well. Him and Donnarumma together really cover a lot, and you see when he's not in, they don't play good.
Yeah, I think this is a challenge for Atalanta, right? Because you can't, it's okay. It's one thing to be the Cinderella story where you're playing with house money and you're just playing the same 14 guys and you're going to keep pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing and everything goes right for you. But now when you come into the season, you come into the Champions League and you say, okay, how do we duplicate what we did? And now you start to think and maybe overthink, and you're not necessarily playing the 11 that are best in form 8 games in a row, right? Because you're probably trying to save them smartly, right? But now can you get the next 7, 8 guys on the bench to play at the same level, right? And that's the tricky part. That's the tricky part of any bigger team. So they have players, but I'm a little disappointed with the level of drop off with the second team. Let's say the second team selections. And again, it's different inserting 1 or 2 people into the same to 9 that have been playing really well together, and then having them kind of do their part versus changing 6 or 7, where you're essentially changing the entire team, the rhythm of the game. So he's going to have to figure that out, because if he keeps doing this, he's gonna have his flops, and at the end of the day, at the end of the season, he's going to wake up and he's going to be in 8th place, right? So he's just going to have to figure that out and figure it out fast.
They have a lot of new players, rotation players. They brought in a lot of different players, so you got to give them time to gel. Props to Samp though. Like they missed a penalty and they still win 3-1. Like they played well.
Yeah, I mean, look, I expect Samp to be middle of the table, higher middle of the table team with Ranieri, and they have. I mean, listen, Quagliarella's pure finisher. I don't care how old the guy gets. I mean, he's good, right? I mean, unfortunately, you can't play 90 minutes every game anymore. But when you have him and you have a good coach and you have some other players, I mean, you should be competitive. You should at least put the other teams under pressure every week.
Yeah, it was well done. It was, like I said, they're on a bit of a streak. 9 points out of 3 games. You can't ask for more than that. And they're building an early point total where they're not going to have to worry about relegation. They're going to get to, hopefully they're going to get to 40 points pretty early, and then, see where they can go from there, or start even playing some younger players once they get to 40 to see what they have in the youth and all that. So they're just setting themselves up for success this season.
So what do you guys think about Atalanta? Are you pushing the panic button yet? Do you think this is just a blip and they're going to start rattling off wins again? What do you guys see coming?
Gasparini's too good, and they have so much talent on that team. They'll get it. Their defense is shaky for sure, but I think they'll figure it out.
Yeah, I don't write anyone off until really the halfway point of the season. Really, because you can have, like I said, if you look at Lazio, you have 1 half good season, 1 half bad season. I'll wait until midpoint, until Christmas to see.
Yeah, no, I'm not even saying that. I'm just saying, do you think that this is going to be, a glitch that they're going to have a prolonged issue with? Let's say the next 10, 15 games, do you think they're going to have the same 1 good game, 1 bad game, where they're going to take themselves out of title challengers, or do you think they're going to right the ship in the next game? And what do you guys think?
I hope so, because I don't want them to do something stupid like fire Gasparini. That's going to really get me mad. Because I don't know. I hope that doesn't happen.
I don't think you have any worry of that. A Champions League coach they won their first game in Champions League too. You don't have any worry of that. I think it's just get people back, get them healthy, find a rotation, find who plays well together, and they'll get it right.
Last year they started off slow, and there was talks about him leaving. So
yeah, and they got to the semifinals of the Champions League.
They made the right choice. They kept them.
The other thing is, listen, in soccer, anyone can get fired. Look, Ranieri got fired from Leicester City, right? Leicester City after winning the damn league, right? So that could happen, but I don't think they're that stupid to do that this early. But I do think so listen, it's all about Gasperini. He knows his roster. And what I think he's doing right now, I think he's betting on, let me take my lumps now as I get the 18, 20 people I'm going to need to really have, like, get them in form and get them playing the way I need now. But look, Ilicic, he's trying to get him back into playing form. He hasn't played good in 3-4 games at all, right? So you put one guy in there, like we talked about the game they lost previously. It's like you're playing with one guy less, and then you start making 5 or 6 subs, and let's hope the gamble pays off, right? Let's hope these people actually start playing at a higher level.
Yeah. All right. I mean, I don't think there's much more to say about that game. What do we want to go to next? Do we want to go to the Napoli Benevento game?
Sure.
So, I mean, this game actually, I mean, the result is what we expected with Napoli winning 3-1. Because, like we said, we've mentioned before, Benevento's defense isn't the greatest, and they let up a lot of opportunities. And you saw Napoli had a bunch of shots. They carried the possession. The reason I put this game in there basically was for the 2 Insigne brothers. For Roberto, who used to be a Napoli player, like in their youth system, and he got sold out of there. And his brother, Lorenzo, they're playing against each other for the first time. For Roberto to get that first goal had to be such a good feeling against his brother. And then Insigne,
I don't know how good it was. I don't know how good it was since they lost.
He was flying pretty high at that moment when they were up 1-0. And then Lorenzo, he had a goal that was taken away from an offsides, and I was so happy that he scored too. And I was like, oh, it got taken away. But then he scored again when it actually counted. Like I said, it's not. Yeah, it was a nice goal. And then Patania scored his first goal for Napoli. It was what we expected. I'm really impressed with Bakayoko. I think he's played really well in the midfield. I didn't expect him to just take a spot straight up. Like, literally as soon as they signed him, they're like, okay, you're in, and he's been in, and I don't think he's going to lose that spot. And they have other midfielders to play, like Zielinski, Deme. They got some other people that can play. They have a good depth. Osimhen played okay. I don't think he did anything special. But it was the result we were expecting, and I'm glad Napoli's continuing to win.
So is what you're saying about Bakayoko coming in and playing, does that show you that they're actually smart? They buy players they actually need and use versus the Juventus style, just collecting players and figuring out later? Or do you think it's just...
So, I mean, they have to be much smarter with their money because they don't have as much money. So when they make a decision on someone, they're going to make
$80 million.
On one person, and that's the person they targeted, and they knew that this guy is going to be the one that they play. But they have to, the decisions they make have to be correct. If they make wrong decisions, like Lozano last year sucked, and you saw how much that killed them. Now he's playing good, and it's like another transfer that they got this year. But you saw the one transfer they made, the biggest transfer they made last year, and their team was not good. The 2 transfers they made this year, and their team is awesome. So they, like I said, they have to get it right.
Well, that could be said for most teams, right? I mean, only a few teams really have the money to kind of throw away their mistakes, and eventually they always catch up to you.
But I know we'll talk about it later, but they also did lose a game this week versus one of the worst teams.
Shut up, we're not talking about that now. So, and then also the other part that I wanted to point out, Gattuso, he's doing well with them, but there was rumors that he was out with De Laurentiis the other night, and they were talking contract extension because I think he's up this year, and he deserves it. 2-year contract extension they're talking about.
So give him props too. They made 2 subs and they scored 2 goals. He's making he made the right moves last game. I think he deserves it. They're playing well.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, Gattuso is a type of person where honestly, I've seen this happen before. If I was them, I'd honestly let him play another 20, 30 games before I think about giving him an extension because
you can't do that.
Then I give him an extra year, right? That's it. That's the deal. But I wouldn't give him on 5 games. And then all of a sudden, this is the type of game. I'm not saying it's going to happen.
It's not on 5 games. It was from taking a team that was awful at the beginning of last season, and he turned them around. And if you remember, Frank, they wanted to go and retreat, and they refused. They were so dysfunctional and disorganized he turned it around from the beginning of last season. So it's not just 5 games. Like,
no,
he's got the
true.
respect. He's got the locker room. He's got him playing hard and tough the way he plays, and they're scoring goals.
So no, that's true. That's true. But how many times have we also seen where they'll give an extension to somebody early, and then all of a sudden, 8 months later, they're firing them?
Well,
right. So, yeah, well, that's all I'm saying. If you're going to commit to him, commit to him, you know? So if he's there, great, but don't, then they lose 9 games at the end of the season and then he's fired. Right. So I don't know. We'll see.
He deserves it.
There's nothing more to say about this game, I think. Let's move on to the Rome Milan game. This game just finished. Yeah. Well, not just finished, but a few hours ago. Today's game, 3-3. Milan had 3 1-goal leads and blew every single one of them. Ibrahimovic scored in the 2nd minute. Not really surprising there. He's been on fire. 2 goals he had. I can tell you, so my thoughts about this game, I thought the ref had a bad game. I don't think that Roma's penalty shot was a penalty. I think actually Pedro was the one who fouled the defender. So that was really surprising to me that he called that, and that shouldn't have been a penalty. And then I think even Milan's penalty shot was kind of a makeup. It was more of a penalty than Rome's, but I still think it was kind of like not a strong foul to give it. So those really canceled each other's out. But 3-3, entertaining game. That's what we expected. Both these teams had midweek. Rome had a midweek game too, right? Yeah, because they changed like their lineups. They had like 8 different starters from midweek from the previous game that they had. So a lot of people shuffling in and out. But 3-3, it was an entertaining game.
I think Milan really missed Donnarumma this game. I think he plays, they win that.
Yeah, their goalie looked a little shaky for sure. When's the last time he actually played a game though? I mean, Donnarumma plays
that was his debut for Milan.
I think they said
any game.
He was playing international.
He plays international. Yeah.
But I think Donnarumma plays that game, they win.
I guess.
Well, that's hard.
I don't know. He's a quality goalie, yeah, but
even on that corner, right, where he tries to punch it out, he misses it. Donnarumma's just that much taller. He gets to that ball.
Yeah.
Well, listen, both teams were awful on the set pieces on the corner kicks. Romagnoli. I know I've said previously I'm not a fan of his. Him marking Dzeko on that first goal was awful. He didn't do anything. He just let Dzeko go up, free header, easiest goal of his life. Like, it was just terrible defending.
Yeah. And then at the end of the game, he had a free header and just misses it.
And he choked on a free header at the end of the game. I'm not the biggest fan of Romagnoli. You guys know that. But even on one of Milan's goals, they didn't cover. They just don't cover well on corners.
That's it. I feel like that's all over Serie A now, though, right? It's like you got the attack. Like, you used to be able to mark corner kicks. It was something we did well in Italy. Now it's like you got people running free. You got people when defenders jump with forwards. It's just kind of like they're making a show of it. Like, they never win it.
I think the issue is you see all these teams going to like zone defense on this, and like just pick a man, stick with them.
Yeah,
they don't guard anyone, and then you have a free open lane in between 2 people, and you can score.
100%. I don't like the zone marking. I know a lot of clubs do that with in the corner kicks because you know what? Like, they're late to the space. They get anticipated by good forwards because that's what good forwards do, right? Good forwards anticipate where the ball's going and get to the space and put it in.
So they're moving and they have the momentum. Like, you're just stagnant, standing there waiting for the person to get the ball. They're going to get the ball before you.
100%.
Unless you have a freakishly athletic person who can, jump out of his shoes to get it. But like, it's just stupid.
So another thing too is when you're playing man to man and you're covering that guy feels it. So he knows there's someone as opposed to someone sitting in the zone.
That's right. Half the time defending on a corner kick or a header is just making sure that your body's there with the other person, so he can't just coordinate himself. They don't do that anymore. And I think you're better off playing 7-8 guys straight man to man, maybe having 1 or 2 free people to just kind of like near post, whatever, try to win the ball.
Yeah, you want to put people on the post, it's fine, but like just be a nuisance for the person.
Yep.
Yeah, it's bad. Like, it's like even when they jump with the guy, they're always a step behind. They're half a foot lower of a jump than it's pretty pathetic. Like, it's not good defending.
That's coaching. The coach is telling you to play that, right?
Well, that's true too. I mean,
defense, and God knows what happens.
I mean, that's something that you're right. You can just drill that in, right? Like if that's a weak spot, and so many of these teams, like, oh, they go a whole season where it's a weak spot. Like you drill that in every day until like I don't care. You know what? There's like they're afraid to get penalties. Like no one touches anybody. No one does anything.
Yeah.
It's like okay, so that is different too because there used to be straight up wrestling going on, but that's no excuse. Like you have a guy get goal side. First of all, they get beat goal side, and then they lose the 50-50 challenge on the ball. It's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? It's just it's not good.
All right, what's the next game?
So that's all the games as far as like the ones that I singled out. If Dom wants to pull out the results for all the other games that I listed, so we can talk briefly about them, but I don't want to go like crazy in depth on all of them.
So the one I wanted to mention was my team Sassuolo.
Yeah,
I was looking forward to this game so much, and the fog, I couldn't see anything.
That was brutal.
But let me tell you, Sassuolo plays the way I wish Juventus did, man. Like, one-touch passes, they're quick, they move. They're a talented team. And they came back, they were losing, 3-1, right? Something like that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Defender, Karakish, or whatever his name is, beautiful.
Karakish. So that might be goal of the season.
That was
goal.
Beautiful.
The guy can't defend, but oh my God, what a shot.
Oh, he's terrible at defense, but beautiful goal. And then Juricic had a really nice one too, right?
Yeah, the back heel near post. Yeah.
And then my boy Caputo ties it up. I love watching that team. They're just really fun to watch. Seriously, watch them.
So I heard a rumor that's you may have put some shekels on Caputo. Is that true?
I did, yes. I did.
Well,
so I had a free bet. So I was like, you know what? Let me support my boy Caputo. And they had top goal scorer for the season. So I was, I threw $5 on him. Only pays $55, but whatever. I got to support him.
Caputo's corner.
Listen, you all give me hopping on that corner. He's got 5 goals.
Here's the deal. I will tell you though. I think it's absolutely hysterical that people think the chances of him maybe making a national team is a joke. Right. I think let's say he plays the entire season where he just does his part, scores his goals. You're telling me going into the tournament in the summer when you're looking to take 5 forwards with you, 6 forwards, yeah, there's going to be names ahead of him. But in reality, you're telling me there's definitely going to be 5 or 6 guys in better form than him if he plays this?
I'm telling you right now, there is no way he does not make the national team.
He's definitely making it.
You think he does or he doesn't?
100% making the team.
So you think he is making it? Okay, I think he's got a chance to make it too. I think most people would disagree with us.
I don't know about that.
I don't think so.
I think Immobile is going to be the guy.
Listen, you got Immobile, right? You got Belotti, you got Insigne.
So here's the deal.
Insigne is not a striker.
You're talking a number 9. It's going to be
Immobile. But how many number 9s do you think they're going to take? They're not going to take.
Here's the deal. It's going to be Immobile, right? And then Belotti's going to get the number 2 spot, even though I mean he's playing okay.
He's playing well. You got to give him credit. He's playing well.
But I think I'm more comfortable with Caputo there. I'm just saying.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. I almost would say if it's a pure chance right now with guys in form to score, the little bit I've seen of Caputo, I think he's more likely to finish a chance, just a pure in front of goal inside the 18 than Belotti at times, who, I think it's a 50-50 shot. He might finish it or he might crank it over the bar, right? Like
some guys are just finishers. Trezeguet's a finisher. Caputo's a finisher.
Inzaghi,
Inzaghi.
Remember Inzaghi? He didn't touch the ball at all. He would touch the ball one time and put it in the net, right? So I'm not saying he's Inzaghi, but I think it's going to be hard for him to make the national team because just like what you guys said, how many number 9s are they going to take?
He's going to make the national team. I'm telling you right now. I will give him.
I hope he does. I hope he plays good, and I hope he makes it.
Listen, how many years ago was he on? Was he on Empoli when they came up?
Yeah.
I told him the first game I saw him. I said, "This guy can play, man." And Daddy made fun of me. I believe he was like, "Who are you talking about?"
He did.
He made fun of me. And I said, "This guy's legit, man. He knows how to score. He plays well." I just like him, and I love watching the team play. Their coach is great. They're really fun to watch, guys. Seriously, if you have not watched them, watch them.
Listen, I love stories like that because it reminds me of Totowski, Lacci, and Dindy, right? Like I want the underdog forward who might come in and take a tournament. I just don't know because again, you can only take so many players. So, if he's a 9 and they have Belotti and they have Immobile, now it's like, okay, well, you're gonna have a third guy sitting there. I don't know.
He's
yes. If they play their first 2 games in the group stage and they're struggling for goals, he's gonna go in.
Yeah, if he's on the team.
Yeah, no, but I'm putting him on the team. He's on my team. I don't think he'll start, but if they're struggling in the tournament, he's going to play the third game. If
he's on the team, then I'm hoping the coach will actually look at who's in form and not necessarily play the name. Because again, I think he's proven if he gets some chances, half a chance, he can put the ball away. So yeah, that's a good problem to have.
I just like to share. I like him.
Caputo's Corner is brought to you by Barilla Pasta.
It's not at all.
It's not, but it could be. Barilla, hit us up.
Don, bring the screen up a little bigger.
Yeah, the font's a little hard to read.
Yeah, sorry. Inter. Oh, I didn't make a graphic for Inter. Wow, look at that. That's how much I hate them. 2-0 versus Genoa. I mean, we were expecting that. Genoa was still hit with a bunch of COVID cases. It was always going to be an uphill battle for them.
Listen, I'm really hoping Genoa starts to turn it around too. Like, I think they have more players than so far. I mean, I know they've had a hard start.
Genoa's got a talented. They have a talented team. I'm not worried about them getting relegated.
No, me neither. But eventually you got to start turning it around too.
So what's the deal? Lukaku had 1 or 2 in this game? He scored, right?
Yeah, he's scoring, and he's scoring every game. It seems.
What's he got? Seven goals in 6 games or something?
I believe so, something like that. Yeah, if you count the Champions League games, 7 and 6.
I thought I read too, or I heard that they're mad at UEFA or something for this COVID test for Hakimi, and they're like fighting that now or something. I don't know if you guys read that.
I read that too. They're always complaining about something. I'm more interested in Conte still being stubborn with the back 3 when he doesn't have all of his pieces, and he's putting Ranocchio, who, if you see Ranocchio, the last time this guy plays, he only plays when they're down and they put him at center forward so he can win head balls. He doesn't even play defense anymore. And then he starts him in the back with D'Ambrosio. Those 2 in the back, you cannot have 3 defenders back there, and 2 of them are them. So
listen, Ranocchio 3 years ago was supposed to be a decent prospect, right?
No, I know that, but the guy doesn't do defense anymore. He plays forward. Like, they put him forward in emergency situations.
Well, who is he? Like that crappy high school coach we used to have years ago? They used to put defenders at forwards. Like, what is he doing? Like, to win head balls?
It's just, I don't understand. But I mean, they were expected to win. They won. It wasn't really a hard game for them. Like I said, I didn't want to make a graphic fact. I just don't want to hint for stuff.
All right, that I don't see anything else. What about Fiorentina? Any comments on that game?
So I actually do have comments on Fiorentina because I think I've been saying for a few weeks that I think Hakimi's got to be careful. I really do think he's on a chopping block, and I think that 3 points that they got saves him for a little bit. I do want to shout out to Castrovilli. I know Frank, you're not really a huge fan of him. I know you say that he disappears during games. But he's starting to put the ball in the back of the net. And he had 2 goals. He had an assist. They gave him the number 10. And even when they gave him the number 10, their fans and media were shocked that they gave him number 10. They said he wasn't worthy of it. If he continues to score, I think he's got four goals this season, 4 or 5 goals. But he was a real difference maker, and it was a big win for Fiorentina because they've been on a losing streak, and I could really see Iachini getting fired very soon unless they pull together some wins.
Well, part of me doubts if he gets fired, I think there's a good chance they go for Sadi if they, with Kamizo can afford him, which he can. But I don't know. Part of me thinks is Sadi the type of guy to come in mid-season and get his team playing the way he wants them to play, and then I don't know.
Yeah, mid-season would be tough for Sarri because he's got a whole system and training in the middle and stuff. The 2 names are Sarri and Spalletti, but those are 2 guys on huge contracts who is it worth for them to even get a coaching job when they're making so much money?
I would tend to lean more towards Spalletti because he's done that before on teams. I believe he's gone in mid-season. he's not as rigid in what he wants from movement from his players as Sadi, and it's just going to be hard to come in, midseason and be like, okay, learn this and only do this. I don't know, but that'll be curious. But I think you're right. I think he should be careful. He might lose his job.
Chris and I were watching this game before it started, and they run the lineups and they show the subs, and Chris said to me, he's like, they got a good team. Like, they have solid players.
I was just going to say that. Like, they have so much talent on this team, and it's frustrating to watch them. Like, I don't know if their system's not good. I don't know if he's getting this point across, the coach, but they have such a talented team. Their defense needs work for sure. Besides Milinkovic, their defense needs work, but they have talent. I don't understand why they're not better than they are.
Yeah, I don't know. It's still. They changed a lot. I think Chiesa was a big part of that too, and I think it was a good thing for them to get rid of him and move on from him. But I just wanted to point out Castrovilli because I know Frankie says he disappears in games, but the guy, his technique and his footwork is so good, and he's so fast and quick with the ball. He really does have a big upside.
Well, I think my big knock on him was because like the one game where I think we talked about him, he literally was. All he did was mess up passes until that final 10 minutes where he ended up assisting and scoring one. I forget which game it was, but I was like, until then he was the one messing up the final pass. So, yeah, I mean, I didn't see this game, truth be told. So I'm defaulting to you guys, but it's not. I'm not shocked to say that you say play a good game.
Yeah, get the 3 points.
How did our boy do? Ooh. Did he play? Amrabat?
Amrabat played. I mean, he was there on the side to do.
Is he still playing really? Is he still playing really deep, or is he playing a little bit more advanced than he was the first couple of games?
No, he's still floating around.
He definitely has not been as good as he was last year on Verona.
It's not just me saying this, but he won a spot on the team of the year last year. He was one of the 3 midfielders who.
Listen, a few games I didn't watch as much Verona as you did, but the couple games I did watch, I came away impressed with him because
last year I made it a point to watch as many games as possible solely for him because he was just that fun to watch and that good. But this year you're not seeing as much.
Well, what I liked when I saw him was he was somebody that can had good positioning, can impose his will in the midfield, but then also had enough skill to do something creative with it, which is like a rare mix. He's not the fastest guy. I think if he was a step or two faster, he'd be worth a lot of money. He'd be worth a lot of money. I think that's
only 15 or whatever he was.
Yeah, if he was faster and he had the same game, just speed wise faster, I think you would have a really good midfielder. But I'm just curious to see if he's integrating himself any better in Fiorentina at this point.
We'll see what happens when Polgar comes back. See if his position changes a little
bit. Polgar is back. Polgar's been on the bench. He's taking a spot.
So how about we switch it up, put Polgar in his spot that he is, and then move Amrabat around, right? Make him.
Listen, that's for the coach to decide. But like I said, he is a bud. I hate his hat that he wears on the sideline. Just a suit with the hat. Come on, man. You just look like a putz. Let's move on.
Producers yelling at us in the background.
Yeah, let's move on. Let's go to all right. So disclaimer: before Dom puts up the player of the week, the way we do player of the week, because a lot of other places do. Whoever just scores the most goals, they're our player of the week. That's not how we're doing it. We're gonna pick players who we enjoy watching them play. We like what we see from them. It's not just stat based. So there's just a little disclaimer before we throw it up there.
Good, because I didn't know how I picked, so that's perfect.
I didn't pick Kaput though, so just to give you a heads up.
Yeah, that was a surprise. So when you guys gave me the names of the players, I was like, these guys really picked 2 people on the same team, and they didn't even win the game.
I did it mostly because it was versus Juventus, and then, and he comes in, scores 3 minutes off the bench. He gets hurt, unfortunately, but it's his old team. It's ballsy. I love it. It was great.
Yeah, for me, I went back and forth. I remember you kept asking me. I went back and forth between Lovato and Coley. I gave it to Coley because, again, I think he did. When you're an underdog team, right, and you're trying to do anything you can to press and take control of the game, it's important that you have people that can put, the the better team, the bigger team on the back foot. And I think Coley did that a lot of times. I think he played well off of Kalinic, who was, winning a ton of 50-50 balls over Bonucci, and then they were playing off each other. And I think that enabled them to that first half to own, press and really own the field, and at least, go toe to toe with Juventus. So that's why I gave it to him. I think he was dangerous in certain spots. I think Lovato probably played a better 90 minutes. But I wasn't going to give it to anyone on Juventus, right? I'm not going to give it to Special K because he scored. Big deal. You're good. I expect you to score.
We said Coley, whatever Coley, I think you say it, but Atalanta owned. We're not really surprised by that. They have probably the most stacked youth system. 20 years old, so there's a lot of room for growth there. I went with Castrovilli. I don't have to say it again, but it was a big win for Fiorentina. A really big win, because I really, really think another loss there, they might have been looking at a new coach for next weekend. And 2 goals, 1 assist. He played really well. And speaking of potential, this kid, if he continues to play well, try to keep him off the Euro team, because I know they have tons of people who play his position, but I just love the way the kid moves. He moves really, really well with the ball. I don't know. I like his potential. So that's our 3 stars of the week.
Stars. We probably have to rename it, right? Because for us, really, it's about 3 guys that we thought stood out in one game. Yeah, guy that we think stood out, really. Yeah.
So I was also going to say, if you're watching this video, write in the comments who's your player of the week. Make fun of us if you want. That's fine.
They're going to be like, all 3 of your players blow.
Yeah.
All right.
So quickly, we're going to move on to the Champions League, because there are Champions League games in midweek, even tomorrow and Wednesday. We didn't really even review last week's Champions League games. The one that stood out, I feel like an idiot. We should all feel like idiots. We all said Lazio was going to have a hard time with Borussia Dortmund, and they took it to them. Oh, my God. They destroyed them. 3-1 win. Even Immobile scored. I said I don't trust Immobile in a big game, and he shut me up. So that was a crazy good first win in the Champions League group for Lazio.
Yeah, that was big for Lazio. That was, especially the way they were playing before that game with the couple games they went into.
It was huge.
That was huge. I was happy to see that, because I want as many Italian teams to go forward as possible in every league.
Of course, yeah.
So I was happy to see that. I actually think for the Juventus game, to me, I thought Chiesa played really well. I think so. I had to give him props for that. I think he did a ton of running up and down the wing. He was dangerous, right? I think for me, he stood out in that game, in the Juventus game. But yeah, I don't know if you want to talk about any specific game or.
Chiesa, he's going to do that. There's going to be something to say about him every game, good or bad, because he's going to be good or bad each game, and he's going to stand out, good or bad.
What I appreciate is the fact is, look, we've seen players come to Juventus before and take a long time to kind of, blend in, right? Dybala struggled. Zinedine Zidane struggled for his first 10, 12 games. People were like, who is this guy, right? So it's not an easy team to sometimes, take your spot and kind of show that you belong. And I think Chiesa at least is showing that through his work ethic and kind of his desire to run. I think he's going to endear himself to the other players on the team really fast, and and maybe build on that confidence, which would be awesome for Italy, for sure.
He still turns the ball over way too much, but that game was expected. There was really nothing special about it. 2-0 win. Inter was Atalanta. They did bounce back. They weren't playing the best opponent. They won 4-0. It was pretty easy. Four goals in the first half, and then they just coasted. Inter is the only team who didn't get a win. 2-2 tie.
I want them to do well, though. I don't know. It sucks they didn't make it to the second round last year.
No, I want them to go ahead just for more money and marketing for Italian soccer. Yeah. But I'm not going to cry if they're the first Italian team knocked out. I'm going to laugh.
No, but I don't think as an Italian league fan, I don't think you can ask for better results than what we supposed, especially that Lazio result. Because nobody, I mean, we didn't see that coming. We were all saying it was going to be rough.
Well, the form that they were showing and the results they were getting, for them to just turn it on in that game was good, right? I mean, again, it's about being consistent. But
so wait, did you guys actually watch the game? I didn't see it.
I was working. I didn't get a chance. I saw the highlights, but I didn't get a chance to see it. But they pressured the entire time. Like they did really, really well. So that brings us to this week's midweek games, Champions League round, match day 2 we got. So Tuesday, you got Inter versus Shakhtar, right?
Yeah.
And then you have, so that's at 2:00 Eastern, and then you got Atalanta versus Ajax, who Ajax, by the way, over the weekend beat their opponent in the Dutch League 13-0.
13-0. That's right.
So we'll have a high-scoring game, I guess.
There was a rumor I read yesterday or today, and I hate clicking these links because I hate it's just clickbait, right? Like none of it's true, but there's a rumor apparently there's a kid on Ajax, Gravenbach or whatever. I have him on Football Manager a couple of times. He's supposed to be legit, and they're saying Barcelona and Juventus next summer.
So I didn't hear that rumor, but I know of the player, and yes, he's supposed to be very, very good.
Yeah.
So he'll go to Barcelona. But 13-0. Let's see if Atalanta's awesome defense can hold them to 7. I don't know.
That should be a fun game to watch for sure.
Well, so you got to hope so. In that game, you got to hope Atalanta's A game comes, right? And then you're right, Dan. You got to hope the A game comes with the guys in form, and then what? That they tie 4-4 or they win 5-4. I don't see them shutting anybody out.
No,
without them even playing.
And I'm surprised. I don't know Golini's injury, but I mean, I like Sportelli. I think he's a competent backup, but
Sportelli, but Golini's better.
Yeah, he seems to get hurt too much and stay out for prolonged periods of time. I want to see him back.
What is the injury anyway?
I don't even know off the top of my head, but I didn't expect him to be out this long. Not that he's the issue. He's not the issue. Sportelli. Yeah. Lazio versus Club Bruges. That's a Belgium team, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're, every year with the Belgian league, they're up there. So, I'm sure they're a competent team, but you would expect hopefully that Lazio keeps some momentum and wins another one, because that would 2 wins in 2 games in that group would be very, very nice for them. And then the big game, Juventus versus Barcelona. I haven't read. I don't know the status on Ronaldo. I don't know where he is with this COVID test. I would really like to see him play because I just want to see Messi versus Ronaldo, as many times as we can.
So I think over this weekend he's still tested positive.
Yeah, he said he's got to test 24 hours before.
Is that for the Champions League? I think Champions League has different rules though, as far as when you have to test negative.
So that's why Inter is probably complaining, by the way, with Hakimi.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think it's probably doubtful that we see Ronaldo, but who knows? We should. McKinney, he's cleared. He was on the bench for this weekend's game, but we'll see. Barcelona just got creamed in the Clásico versus Real Madrid.
Yeah, it was a 3-1.
So they're not in good form. People were giving Messi crap for the last 20 minutes of the game that he completely disappeared in it. But I can see Messi getting. It's Champions League. He's going to get up for this game. And Pjanić, you guys think Pjanić sees the field versus Juventus?
I hope so. I hope so.
We hope when Demiral knocks him on his ass. I'm hoping. But yeah, that's the game of the entire week for Champions League. There's no other game that really compares to that one.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Next week we'll talk about round 6, and we'll talk about the results of the Champions League. And we don't really mention the Europa League. I don't usually follow it all that much until it gets a little further, especially in the first round of the Europa League, there's so many really bad teams that if the Italian teams don't make it out of that group stage, it's just a bad look.
Napoli just got lost to one of the worst teams in the tournament. I don't even know what happened there.
Yeah, and this is the guy that you're like, he deserves that 2-year extension, right? Sign him up. Sign him up. I'm just saying.
They have bigger picture. Napoli. They got the title to worry about.
Bigger picture. When you're Napoli, I think you go for both, right? You don't. I mean, come on. You don't just say, "Oh, what are they cashing in on the EuroLeague, trying to go just for Serie A?" Is that what you're telling me?
I don't think it's worrying them all that much. That group. I think it's they still have 5 more games in that group.
Yeah. All right. Great. But
they're gonna advance for sure. But that's bad loss.
It is you're right. It's a bad loss. I'm not defending it. It's just it's the Europa League. I don't care about it at this point.
Tell us how you really feel.
Yeah, quickly. Do we want to do predictions for the Chris? Can somebody pull up the schedule for round 6 for this weekend, and we can just pick 3 games. We can each nominate one. And Dom, do you have the results for where we're at for the point total for so far for the season? Yeah. Well, I don't know. Tell me in my ear. Pull it up.
He's talking to our producer behind the scenes.
Yeah, sorry. 6 points for Frank and I, and Chris has 5. Let us out of 14.
So we all suck.
Yeah, but I got the Juventus game right though.
Oh.
All right, let's.
All right.
All right, so let's look at these games. I can't see that.
Bigger.
Yeah, producer,
nicely produced.
We got Raptors right there. All right, so Frank, nominate a game. Chris, scroll out a little bit so we can see every game, so you can choose.
All right, let me see who I want to nominate here. Ooh, Sassuolo Napoli, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say 3-2 Sassuolo.
Wow, really?
Mm-hmm.
You're that big on the Caputo train?
Caputo 2 goals.
I'm so proud of you.
I'm on the Caputo corner.
I'm going to say 2-2 for that game.
Okay. I'm going to say Napoli 4, Sassuolo 3.
Nice. 7 goals.
High scoring game. Yep. Chris, go ahead. Nominate one.
Let's go. God, these games really aren't that good this week, right?
Well, you got Rome, Fiorentina. You got Verona, Benevento.
Rome and Fiorentina. They should be. Both of those teams should be so much better than they are. They get me so mad. I don't know. Who are you nominating, Dan?
I'm gonna do the derby, Samp versus Genoa. Because it sucks that there's no fans, and even we didn't mention this, but Italy stopping the 1,000 fans in the stadium. It's going back to 0 because the cases are rising in Italy. But the derby, those games are always fun to watch. And I don't think I can go against. I mean, Samp's on a streak. It makes me want to not pick them because they're due for a loss. But I'm gonna say Samp 3, Genoa 1.
Okay. I'll say 2-1, Sam.
Yeah, I'm also going to say 2-1 Sampdoria. I think Genoa waits another week at least to start righting the ship.
All right. And as far as my game, I mean, we got to pick Juventus. We have to. So I'm going to say Juventus. Okay. Spezia has some points, right? They're not in relegation right now. I don't know. 3-1 Juventus.
Frank, you got a prediction?
Wait, with the little asterisk, it says Bonucci plays 3-2.
I'm gonna say 2-0 Juventus.
I'm gonna assume they have Ronaldo back by then, so I'm gonna say 4-0 Juventus.
Ooh, okay.
Cool.
All right, so that's it, right? And anything else? You have any closing thoughts?
I believe, fellas, that's a wrap.
All right, I guess no closing thoughts. Like we said before, like, subscribe, comment, follow the Twitter. Let us know if you want us to make an Instagram.
I think give us some comments.
If you have
sure.
any.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take thumbs down even too. Like, you don't even have to thumbs up the video. Thumbs down it. I don't even care. This is probably crap. Just thumbs down it.
Tell us why you watched this. I'm very curious.
Clearly, Chris is good luck. All right. We'll see you guys next week.
Yep. Take it easy.
Take care.